GLP-1s. Let's talk about it. This is a super controversial topic. Are they good for you? Is it really just people being lazy and trying to lose weight right away, right? Everyone, the health people, the super, super health conscious people like me, generally kind of judge other people, right? Like, oh, they're just being lazy. They just want a quick fix. GLP-1s are not healthy long term. All of this like bad rep. And then also you look online and there's a lot of people who talk about GLP-1s and they don't have good experiences, right? I think the number one thing is losing bone mass and being really unhealthy, or we see people with results of their face super sunk in. When you just lose too much weight, you look malnourished if you're not doing it properly. So I am here to debunk all of that. Why? Because I really am one of those good candidates who's all about being holistic, being healthy, all of this stuff, right? So actually a friend of mine brought it up to me and I was like, you're right. Let's talk about it. I think this is a fabulous topic and I want to debunk everything. Now, the GLP-1s, let's start off with how they work and why it has a bad rep. So like what they do, they're peptides. First of all, did you know that peptides are naturally occurring in your body? But as you get older, you have less and less. And these peptides signal to you when you're full. Okay. So right there, as somebody who's super holistic and natural, I was just like, oh, light bulb. I was like, I didn't know that, because everywhere that I've been seeing these promoted, they are considered a drug. You go to any pharmacy, you go to any doctor, they call it a drug. It is not a drug if it is naturally occurring in your body, in my opinion. So that's where I was just kind of like, okay. I was like, whatever. Also, I do want to point out that I am surrounded by a lot of healthcare professionals, like nurses, that are super, super passionate about the health and wellness industry. And I go to a medical spa religiously, and they definitely like to do more advanced healing things. So when you're surrounded by people like this too, you just learn a lot. And this is where I got literally like all of my information and everything just started changing for me. So let's go back to what these peptides do, right? They slow down your digestion. So right away, I thought, red flag. I was like, why would you want something that slows down your digestion and then the food sits there longer? I was like, that does not sound healthy to me. I was just like, your digestion needs to be moving and grooving and like doing its thing, right? Well, as time went on, there was actually somebody that really blew my mind into looking into this even deeper. It was a model who was literally microdosing peptides for modeling. And she was a small girl and she looked great, so great. She looked healthy, she looked fabulous. And I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wait a minute, microdosing? Nobody has ever talked about microdosing. Like I've never heard about, I didn't even know that was an option. And when I saw how good it was on her and it was helping her with other health things that she had, I was like, wait a minute. So I started doing some more deep diving. And that's when I decided, I was like, all right. So the two that I was really researching is semaglutide and tirzepatide. So semaglutide is also known as Ozempic, and tirzepatide is also known as Mounjaro. So I was just like, okay, what's the difference between the two? So semaglutide apparently is kind of considered like not as potent just because it's not as strong. Also, from what I've seen personally from the people that have taken it, is there's more side effects. So people get nauseous more fast, or they get results, but then they plateau quicker. Now for tirzepatide, where they got me, the biggest difference is that it has been scientifically proven to increase your muscle mass. Remember how I said there's been a lot of reports out there of people losing their bone density and muscle mass, and they're just like really weak and stuff? Well, that's where they got me, because I'm all about muscle, right? I love to work out, and if I'm going to be working out, it's to build muscle, to be healthy, stay toned, stay fit, keep my metabolism going up. So I was just like, okay, if I'm going to try this, it's going to be tirzepatide, right? So I decided, I'm like, get me on the lowest dose. Let's just see it. Let's just see how it is. And I started back in January, like the second week of January, because I was getting to a point where I was so inflamed, and I didn't know it at the time, but I just knew something was wrong with my body. Like I couldn't lose weight. I was working out really heavy. I was doing a lot of hardcore exercises. Like it just, my body could not get it together. So I was just like, something's going on here. So I bit the bullet. I was like, okay, let's do zero point 0.5 Tirzeptide, right? The smallest dose possible. On it right away. Wow, life changing. Now here's the biggest thing too, is taking a GLP-1 is something you have to be responsible with, right? It's a tool. It's like having a cell phone. Some people are addicted to their cell phone and do nothing. They just become deadbeats. But some people actually make a lot of money off of it, right? And if it weren't for their cell phone, their careers wouldn't be as great as it is. It's a tool. So let's just apply that to GLP-1s. Being someone that is super health conscious, and I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else or anything, I'm just saying how I used it as a tool to benefit me in the best way possible, is I was like, okay, so if this food sits in your stomach longer, then what you eat really does matter. So if I eat greasy fast food, it's going to sit in here longer. And I'm like, ew, 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 ew. Like, who wants to do that? But believe it or not, a lot of people do that if you don't implement the right habits, right? Now, I knew that taking this ahead of time, they always recommend high protein, right? High protein, high protein. And it makes sense because that's what's going to sit in your stomach. So I was like, okay, let's just stick to my organic chicken. And then also constipation is a really big side effect. And it makes sense because your stomach has slowed down, your digestion, everything has slowed down. So I was like, okay. I also threw in an avocado every single day. I was like, we need to have that. So I had eggs, chicken, avocado. And then also, just because you naturally are eating less, so you do have less calories, you do tend to get tired. So that's normal. So I was like, okay, with that in mind, I'm going to add in some dates for energy. You guys, oh my God, I lost so much weight off of this. Like literally within 1 week, how much weight did I lose? I can't remember right now. This will be for a separate podcast. I'll go into my exact numbers, but it was crazy. Like, I think in 2 weeks it was 14 pounds. I'm pretty sure it was 14 pounds. Inflammation, you guys. And that's the other thing too, is studies have shown with these GLP-1s that they really help with inflammation and they really help your bloodstream and stuff. So I was like mind blown. The other thing too that I noticed right away was I didn't crave crappy food. And I think that's just from somebody who has been in tune with what they eat for so long, knowing how that food is going to make you feel, but it's going to last longer, right? So that's something that I have mentally always kept a journal of in my mind, is like, okay, if I eat these burgers and fries, I'm going to have, I'm going to have acid reflux and I'm going to feel really tired. I'm going to have a carb coma. If I take a nap, it'll go away, right? Without a GLP-1. But on a GLP-1, no, you guys, it will sit there for hours and hours and you will feel nauseous. You'll feel so gross. Like, just don't do it. So that helped me a lot. So, and it got rid of like any of those cravings, any of them. I did test it out with a airport cookie, those Biscoffs. I had like half a cookie and again, because it slows everything down, that sugar was getting released into my body slower and it was just way too heavy. Like usually with sugar like that, it's like quick, right? It's like a snap of a finger, super quick. And you feel it. But then all of a sudden, like this one, it drug it out. And I was like, I don't like this feeling. It just, it felt hot. I felt really hot and like gross and whatever. So naturally, you just crave healthier foods, knowing that this stuff is going to sit in your stomach. Now, after some time, we kept losing some muscle, some fat mass, not muscle. But I also went on an in-body scan because I was like, I need to actually make sure that this is healthy for me, that I am losing fat and not losing my muscle mass. So I did do that. Now stick around for part 2 because this is just the beginning. We're going to go over my graphs. I will actually paste it on here so you guys can see my real life results of what my body looks like on these GLP-1s. And if you need some guidance with all of this, you need a mentor, a coach, my calendar is below. Definitely book a 101 with me. And we'll stick around for the next time. Be healthy, feel sexy. Mwah.